Hi again. Welcome everyone back to Market Mamas. We're so glad you guys are here with us today. We're going to talk about a new, very interesting topic, very much double-sided. And our experience with it has just really most recently been intertwined also with our trading journeys. So the topic is isolation and its role for the better or for the worse.
Okay, so isolation is most often seen by the general public with a negative connotation. It's observed as being lonely, less loved, less surrounded, undersupported, and that is certainly one example of the experience of isolation, and it's valid and very real. So, what's the official meaning of being isolated? The dictionary states solitude, isolation, seclusion, meaning the state to one who is alone. Solitude may imply a condition of being apart from all human beings or of being cut off by wish or circumstances from one's usual associates. So isolation stresses detachment from others, often involuntary, but there is neutrality in the definition. So how we each observe isolation can be pretty personal to our lens. I know before really pondering this, I also kind of held that it was kind of more of a sad and unfortunate state of life, not much positive in it.
Yes, there's so much variation with isolation. It could feel and look different, from one person to another for sure. As I've mentioned before, when I first embarked on my trading mission, mission to learn trading, I really leaned into isolation just because I needed to create my own space that supported, the tunnel vision that I just really needed to foster, real belief in myself. Like a lot of us, trading was just so far out of something that I ever thought I would ever even attempt. And then to be 100% honest, I didn't even really know about trading, day trading, anything, prior to the pandemic. And it's another reason why, here at Market Mamas, we are just really passionate about sharing the accessibility and opportunities that, trading can offer. There's just so many people out there, like I was, who have no idea. And then also we're clearly here to also share how hard it is. So, okay, let me get back on track. At that time, I knew I really needed myself more than anyone else in order to, start to strip away parts of me, of the former version of me that wouldn't really serve me on this new pursuit. So isolation actually helped me, to rebuild the person that I would need to, become to be able to withstand, the pressure and the intensity that's just so necessary to survive becoming a trader, and beat the very, very grim statistics. I'm sure we've all heard about those. So certainly the positive side of isolation is that it can keep you, from, being super distracted. You can do it purposefully and then, get rid of all the outside noises that can actually really help you to increase your creativity, give you more clarity. So in history, this was very much demonstrated by the incredible, bright-minded and genius Albert Einstein, who was also very much a deep introvert. He was reported to really value solitude and simplicity. So one great point is that silent people can be successful because they are better listeners, more purposeful communicators, and have a better ability to accurately assess situations. So isolation sort of frees up more time to focus on your lane, your own game, without seeking the attention or the validation from others. And with trading, you can also really avoid engagement with people who have no idea what the heck you're doing, what you're talking about. They may project their own misinformation, thoughts, or opinions towards you. So look, it's human nature, for us to want to have something to add to a conversation. So I don't think it's always people throwing shade, but it's just you can't talk shop with someone who's not in the same arena with you.
So early on in our trading journeys, and even still, we feel the judgment from those that know us, but don't really feel or understand the love and dedication that we have for this trading pursuit. And often that's out of their love for us, sure, but it's common to want those that we love to be safe, secure, stable. When learning to become a successful trader, there's quite a period where you're not actually these things. It's a vulnerable time where I know I was like alternately stressed, anxious, fearful, and at times red with my P&L. And then conversely, on another day, I would feel empowered, hopeful, inspired, excited, and beautifully green with my day's outcome. The roller coaster of this work is not easy and can cause understandable concern for those that are observing us from the outside. For me, this is where the benefit of isolation actually comes. I had early on decided that I was a trader. I love it, and I have enough ability and desire to push and improve and be patient to let the ultimate goals evolve over time. I kind of could see what it would look like long term, and I was in. But the prying eyes of concern from people who did care about me, they just weren't helpful. The piece of silence and quiet to do that deep work was critical for me to stay in this game and build my foundation for each leveling up that I've achieved so far.
Oh, girl, yes. This is a big part of how we can cultivate a strong bond, with those in our encouraging trading communities, or as I like to say, a select few in my locker room. The understanding, we have, for this aspect of our journeys is real, and it's a major part of how, you and I connected and have maintained, so strong in our partnership. So it has been incredibly valuable to have a very tight inner circle that can see us, love us, throughout all these peaks and valleys that we go through. The experience of community, without question, is a core basic human need. Participating in an engaging community, it gives us the sense of belonging and supports our psychology. It's the vulnerability in sharing, each of our own, unique value add that makes collaboration so powerful. So we can agree that there is a time for isolation, to enrich yourself from the inside. And then it's just as important to take the time to share that, with others, and especially others who are going to receive it well, who you trust. So serving each other is how we all grow and continue, to build our own individual empires. And I really believe with the right team, it even accelerates you. I really love the way poets and author Ben Okri expressed this quote. It is in the difficult times that the great times ahead are dreamt and built, brick by brick, with maturity and the hope that comes from wise action. Okay, Becky and I love a good, strong brick analogy. We are in our building foundation for sure phase of our trading. And so this balance of purposeful isolation combined with intentional collaboration has been really beneficial.
Oh my gosh, totally. I love that quote so much. Okay, so to give full credence to the opposing views on isolation, it can be unhealthy and a dangerous situation as well. Some reasons a person might feel lonely or isolated may come from what's happening in one's life, especially if there's been major changes. These could include living alone or lacking close family around you, grieving for a friend, a spouse, or a partner. Loneliness is the feeling of being alone, regardless of the amount of social contact. Social isolation is a lack of social connections. This social isolation can lead to loneliness in some people, while others can feel lonely even without being socially isolated, but just feeling like they are. There's many ways, essentially, that one can feel sad and unsafe due to not having enough actual or perceived support and attention around them. If this is your experience, then this is arguable that it is unhealthy, and you really should reach out to anywhere that can give you a safe, comfortable, safe place. Work to cultivate at least one or two strong bonds that are always open to loving and respectful conversations. That's so valuable. Join groups that are centered around a common interest. Call your family regularly to catch up, stay in touch. We all can feel the benefits of reasonable isolation in certain conditions. Complete isolation, however, is never a sustainable choice for human beings, as we are at our centers social beings for sure. So if anyone is feeling that sort of more negative energy from an isolation period, that there's a level that we're not really referring to with our trading journeys, and that's kind of different. So we definitely encourage everyone to sort of meet your own needs of your heart and soul with this topic.
Completely. It's important to talk about these things. They're just part of our makeup. And as we know with trading, every part of us will, come out in our trading. So when isolation stems more from social anxiety, feelings of shame or like you don't belong, it can be really toxic and almost like a personal prison. For me, isolation has always, kind of been in the background, of just who I am and my contrast. It's something that I've had to, intentionally work really hard to counter, just because from a young age, I was more shy, more timid, just more of an introvert naturally myself. So, like a lot of people, I had life experiences, traumatic things that affected my self-esteem. And then so that just really added to my natural instincts, to already want to go within. So I know this is not uncommon. And, many people, who carry scars, it can just seem easier to exist there, with whatever coping mechanisms, you've developed, which is usually isolation, than to fight your way out of that mental prison. Ultimately, that's just not beneficial to yourself, to the world. Everyone is deserving of their own space, of their own place, they take up, and everyone has value. So I'm a person of faith, and I really believe more often than not, the least likely people on the outside, or even qualified, on paper, for example, are called to do the greatest things. And there's so many examples of just that. We all must work to design, the toolbox that will help serve us to live out our most healthy and fulfilling lives. So for me, on the other side of toxic isolation, I'm just really finding real momentum with the quiet moments, working in silence a lot of the time. It provides me with the space to think, generate great ideas, channel creativity, and then work and study more efficiently. It has been said that when one has set a big goal, the first rule is to not announce it. When you work hard on your goals in silence, you're naturally motivated. You're not seeking others' recognition or their approval. You're creating your own plays and calling your own shots, which is developing you into the boss that you want to become. And I mean, that's the goal, right?
Yes, totally. This speaks so much to me right now, for sure. For me, it's important to remember that time spent in isolation doesn't always have to feel lonely. There's many benefits to the time in isolation, such as things like deeper self-reflection, improved relaxation, and a better ability to focus on the deep work that I am pursuing. There have been times in the last few years where, while I cherished alone time, I also missed my previous engagements, friendships, extracurricular activities. When I went deep into learning and growing my trading career, I just physically couldn't do it all with the hours in a day. So I turned off social media for the most part, began missing events, and communicating less with many really good friends. I loved the work that I was doing, or I wouldn't have been doing it. But there were twinges of feeling left out or being left out of the loops that I used to crave so much more. It was like this weird in between time. In those moments, I settled myself either by refocusing on my why or taking a break from the relentless work and spending some time with those friends and family here and there. Fulfilling those needs occasionally before returning to the grind of my climb up in the trading pursuit. This kind of gave me balance with those needs. And then occasionally, it really kind of spiced it up enough to make me feel like I was sort of still managing all the things. The balance really soothed my soul. I really like the analogy from author Mandy Hale. A season of loneliness and isolation is when the caterpillar gets its wings. Remember that the next time you feel alone. This visual has brought me so much peace with my choices and how I have chosen to live my life right now. I love growing my wings, and it doesn't mean that I'm missing out on life, but rather I'm taking this period to focus inwards and create substantial, beautiful growth and true change for myself. And that applies to both, trading and market mamas. And it's this whole new energy and pursuit in my life. And it's so powerful. And comparing that to butterfly wings, it's perfect.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I love butterflies. Okay. So that is such a powerful and beautiful analogy for sure. And I want to share a quick story. This past September, I actually took myself on my very first solo vacation to Mexico, my home away from home. Having been, to PBR many times, it wasn't like I was discovering a new region. However, I was setting myself up for a new experience, having always traveled with at least one family member or more. So it was literally an act of self-love after having a really difficult trading day. It may have been a couple days, to be honest. I don't remember the exact details, but I do remember, and I'm sure Becky does too, that day I just knew what I needed most was to take time away, with myself, for myself, to honor myself. So yeah, I was on a plane out of the country literally in less than 12 hours. And I know for sure, it will not be the last time. It was just so good for me. It's just a beautiful expression of, intentional and purposeful isolation. It can absolutely be a time of self-discovery, renewal, of dedication, and drive, towards your greatest goals. Because, goals are individual, and They're highly personal, and more often than not, our greatest reason why to keep pushing it won't be found in collaborating with others. Strategies, of course, encouragement, yes, but real inspiration, has to come from within. So English writer William Penn once said, true silence is the rest of the mind and is to the spirit what sleep is to the body, nourishment and refreshment. I love to feel nourished and refreshed.
Yes, I love that. And that example of your solo trip was really an empowering choice. I loved it. So there are a couple of important people to me in my trading journey. They know who they are, who are far more advanced than I am yet with meditation, mindfulness, prayer, and a quiet mind. These are part of myself that I'm working every day to improve at, as I've really actually felt the benefits to my whole self when I do practice them with intention, but I didn't have them for most of my life, so they're pretty new to me. A German author, Franz Kafka, said, isolation is a way to know ourselves. Not my mentor, Germain, so he's instructed me many times to make time each day to just sit quietly, control my breathing, quiet my mind, and tune out the noise. Besides the benefits to my energy and the peace in my heart, the benefits to my trading are major with this practice. Quieting my thoughts and controlling where and when my mind wanders gives me such a greater ability to direct my focus and to stay with a line of work so much better with greater awareness and understanding, such as when I am aiming to flow in sync with the market to execute my best trade setups. I've heard and I believe that the most successful people understand the need of working with maximum clarity. To achieve the deepest clarity, one way is to set aside time each day to be alone with your thoughts. Author Paulo Coelho expressed this really well, stating, solitude is not the absence of company, but the moment when our soul is free to speak to us and help us decide what to do with our lives. I love the way that he worded that. It's so in alignment with how I am working to cultivate a directed, quiet time away from all the distractions and responsibilities, at least for a brief period each day, whatever I can squeeze in, honestly.
Yes, I love putting effort towards that type of mindfulness and awareness of oneself. In our modern, well-connected, busy lives, it's very easy for us to be busy with the wrong things. Again, the distractions, let them be, physical, like the housework that's piling up, but not going to get done while you're locked into other tasks. The mental load of wanting to keep up with people and stay in tune with everything. It's easy to get caught up chatting with coworkers, friends, family, maybe a bit longer than intended. Replying, clearing out your email list, text, DMs, scrolling through various social media platforms, watching TV. Like, are we all just busy being distracted, right? Does this not sound like common culture these days? How much are those distractions and instant gratifications really costing us? I'm really not into it anymore, to be honest. I feel my calling to more self-actualization, and that comes with the need to filter out what I observe and what I absorb. So that's just where I'm at. And I think Becky relates to me. And that's the message we want to put out there for isolation, that it can be a good thing if it's keeping you from, just everyone else's stuff that they're doing. And author Scott Stable has this to say: let them judge you, let them misunderstand you, let them gossip about you. Their opinions aren't your problems. You stay kind, committed to love, and free in your authenticity. No matter what they do or say, don't you dare doubt your worth of the beauty of your truth. Just keep shining like you do. Yes, this is how I want to go about my life. Our time and energy is finite, and I'm going to spend mine doing me.
Yes, that quote is goals. For us at Marga Mamas, we have grown to embrace a sustainable and helpful amount of isolation for the sake of major progress and goals in our lives. I do feel that truly leveling up requires this isolation and extreme focus to break down those barriers that do not serve us along our paths. Creative mind Brittany Josephina wrote, "Note to self, you got to do this for you. This is for you. This isn't about anybody. Live for you, honor you, never lose sight of that." So it's in this spirit that we have harnessed isolation as a tool for maximum growth. It's a purposeful balance that served our journeys and, when integrated carefully, can be the space and time that we all need to truly elevate. Kendra and I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic and the power of isolation in your pursuit, how you harnessed it. Have you been able to find a healthy balance with isolation so that you can get in some nice deep work and self-actualization? Drop us a comment. Anyways, we're glad you're here. Thank you for being here and have a really great day. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.